All right, hello, Victoria 3 players. I wanted to do a Let's Play. And the first one I went through, I found that the nations were locked in these wars that were going on for decades. This would be like England and the USA against Russia and the two Sicilies. And the two Sicilies wanted to get investment rights in Sierra Leone, and they were against another country at the very beginning that I think got absorbed in the Italian unification. So there was the one war goal that was left on the table, and these nations were fighting over it for decades. And as a result, I thought I was just being very conservative in my gameplay and not getting the AI mad, and because I was not expanding a lot as Germany. I'd formed Germany and like, okay, I'm not going to grab colonies. I'm not going to go ham on everything. I'm just going to build my economy and then have these strong, great powers nearby that I would have to fight at the end as like boss fights. And no, they weren't there because they drained their economy in warfare. All their resources, manpower, everything just got poured into this, and it was useless. So then the next one I played, again, I'm playing Prussia because this is my second favorite nation. I do France when I test a mod, but now that I'm not testing them anymore, I thought I want to play Prussia again. I really want to. You may want me to do something else, but no, I want to play Prussia. I will play Prussia. I'm going to Prussify. Anyway, next round I was playing, and I'm making all these treaties with Latin American countries and tossing in defensive pacts and having fun, and then England was coming in and trying to make protectorates out of them, so I had to stand up and say, no, I'm protecting them, and I get my one war goal, and then like 2 or 3 other countries join in with England and go, wait, what? I had my war goal, what? It's like they're waiting for me to declare it, and then whoop, they jump in because they know I can't touch them now. So that's what this mod is intended to fix. Okay, I won't get you in the run up to the war, but I'll pay a little extra infamy and get you when the war is going. Now, a caution, I am using a modified version of this mod that I have on my local hard drive. I did not upload the changes I made. The author has stated that they're going to work on how many months are in between an update and how much infamy is involved in a changeover. And so I'm eager to see what that looks like. But for right now, I've got my own version, and I'm using it because it has much less infamy. This is something like if you take a state, it's 66 infamy. If you wanted to add a war goal for investment rights, it was like 20 or something like that. It was huge. So I've really ramped those down. I tested it, I checked it out, and I like the infamy values I have. So I'm using that in my game. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to use it yet, but just knowing it's there makes me feel better because that's something the game needs. I tried to build a mod that would also allow me to take over if I'm a great power in a war play. I think that maybe somewhere hard-coded because I went through a lot of files and I couldn't find anywhere that said if a puppet is attacked, then the war leader becomes the nation that owns the puppet. So if you know where that is, let me know, like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, my new mod list, the link will be in the description below because I've got this mod, but well, I'm probably going to leave it out of the list. I'm just mentioning it here so that way if you want to play with it, you can. But I've got my own version that I'm keeping to myself and testing before I unleash it on the world. But mods I do have that I'm running with, well, the better infamy treaties and claims. It's as advertised on the label there. It will make it where the infamy costs for certain things are much reduced, where I think that makes sense. And the resistance to certain treaty articles are much increased. Case in point, I mentioned my strategy in South America was to just offer a treaty to every nation there. Just say, okay, declare your interest, boom, 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 pick up all of South America, and then say, okay, here's a treaty where I will give you, or you will give me, I am the great power, I'll take trade privileges, investment rights, and you get a power block embassy, and if I have to, I'll guarantee independence. But usually they'll take put all 3 of those in, they'll accept it, boom, I'm going. And with those 3 articles, I get very quick move up to where they will be willing to accept me as their overlord, or not overlord. They'll join my power block very quickly. If you only have one of those articles, they'll join, but it takes much, much longer to get there. But what this mod does is if I try to go in and say, okay, power block embassy, they may like that. Trade privileges, well, at least you'll be trading with us. Investment rights, no. They're not giving me investment rights unless I am forthcoming with a lot more other stuff, like a defensive treaty. Then, okay, you signed a defensive pact, that's binding. Now we'll talk about you investing here. So the stakes are higher, and they're not just going to have problems. At the same time, if the nation makes goods, and they have a lot of those goods, they're likely to offer them up. More likely to, which is a good thing. And I could probably use some of that in the game I'm playing. And I'll get to that in a little bit here. Another issue I had was one run I was attempting. I was trying to form a greater Germany, but doing it very carefully. And I forced Austria to let Hungary go, and let Galicia Lota Maria go, and to let Croatia go. So all these places had been let go. Venetia, independent. So when I took over Austria, it was just the core Austrian territories, Lombardy, Istria, Crane, and the Dalmatian coast. And Crane is already a demand for Germany. So it's like, great. I brought them all in. And then right after I formed Germany, it gives me this little nasty gram that says, you've got too much Austria. You've got non-German parts. You can let them all go free and no infamy. Or 2, you could pay 42 infamy and let them go as protectorates. Or 3, you could keep them all in Germany and pay 70 infamy for the privilege. Okay, Lombardy is pretty cool, but it's not worth 70 infamy. I could just wait a while and conquer it later. So I didn't want to get hit with that. And really, I could let Lombardy go and even the Dalmatian coast, but I wanted to have this here. Come back. Right there. That little spit of land, the port on the Adriatic. So that way, because I had the Suez Canal, I could just send a boat straight from here, Trieste, to the Suez, and not have to go around France. Because, they're French. They tend to form a rivalry, especially after you take Alsace-Lorraine. It's like, So, yeah, that was a good thing. I wanted to do that. And this is the mod that will allow me to do that. I think I would leave it in, even if I'm not playing Prussia, because having that potential in there for a really, really strong Germany is something that appeals to me, because I do want to try to play a game where at the end I am not just the number one economy, and then if you add the next 10 economies, I'm still bigger than all of them combined. I don't like that. I want to be, if I am the number one economy, I want number 2 to be very close to me. And I think, this could help if I'm playing some other nation, this could help them out. So anyway, I've got this one. And likewise, I just thought having a mod that would allow South Africa to get claims on the Orange Free State and Transvaal to be a nice thing, and let them expand and form a real proper looking South Africa. So I've got that mod. Next one, I like this, and it goes very well with this mod, Take Claim. So I'll talk about this one, then I'll go to the one I mentioned earlier. Take Claim means if you do a diplomatic play to revoke a claim, you get the claim after you win the war. So you don't just take the claim away from someone, you replace it with your own. This makes sense. Why is this not in the base game? I do not know. Well, it's in the modded game, and that's why I have it here. And now, that's what goes with colonization pacing tweaks. This will, it'll do this. Let me go over here, make that bigger. Your Africa in 1889 will look like that. It's, the British got some Kenya here, and there's some action going on in North Africa and on the sides, but they haven't expanded into the Sahara or the Sahel or the Congo for that matter. But then you look at Africa in 1899, oh la la. Now, whoosh, whang, pow, boom, boom, it's almost done. And that's because this is going to change the colonization speeds for Africa, and it's going to change the colonization entry for Africa. In the game I'm playing right now, if we were to take a look here, this is with the mod. There's no colony going on in the Windward Coast. There's the French ones start with their little one here on the coast of Ivory, or is this Windward Coast? Anyway, there's no colony there where there usually is one. And where there's usually some pretty big expansion on this side, no. And what about Cameroon? No. The Danes, they got their way into the Niger Delta. Good job with that. But nobody else is moving around in Africa because there's just so dang much malaria. And even though we've just discovered quinine, it's not going to allow us to penetrate any further. There are some other events that will happen with that mod in place. Now, the other thing the mod does is, if we take a look here. All right, here we got the claims for the French Republic on Mauritania. The French are not there, but they have the claim. That's something that the mod will do. It actually assigns those claims, and when you colonize an area, you take the claim. So I've already got several other mods that this one will replace, one of which is one I wrote, pre-existing claims. You don't need it with this thing. The next mod that would be taken out was, let me see here. Oh, yeah. Sort of the pre-existing claims. The other one would be the no border gore mod, because that's the one where if you colonize, you make a claim. This already does that. And the third one was a very old one that just said quinine will be available later. Well, there's no point to that, because now when quinine becomes available, it becomes available, and we all benefit. So colonization pacing tweaks. This is going to help with the Africa situation that I keep bringing up. And I'm very eager about that. So I've got two of the things on my wish list. Adding war goals after a war starts, and colonization, fixing that in Africa. Then the final one I've added to my set is better market info. And this is just a fun little mod here that gives you better market information. If we could bring up the view here. All right, so you see all this here, and then if I hit next, you see these numbers by the side. That shows where you are in the world as a manufacturer of that good. And you hover over it, and it'll show who else is there. That's just nice to have. So if I was to go to my game, and I think let me turn off the Vicky 3, or sorry, turn on the Vicky 3. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so in my game, I go over to my wood. How am I doing with wood? Well, it turns out I'm the number 9 producer. Maybe I should get a trade deal with China or Russia, because they're making lots of the stuff. That would be helpful. So, yeah, having that, and it's available from any view of the market. And this bit here itself is from another mod, so well done. It all plays well together, and that gets the mods the way I would like them to be for version 1.11.1. So I hope you enjoy them. I hope you're nice to each other. Like, comment, and subscribe. Be good to yourself. And yeah, this is the teaser here, because I am going to do a Let's Play with Prussia. This is the one. This is the one. And I'll probably start doing that video after I hang up on this one. So I should end this now.